Welcome to Offbeat, the light side of law enforcement, part of the Treehouse Podcast Network. I'm your host, retired officer Steve Rutherford. Your co-host for today's show, Detective Curtis Hadley.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Curtis. Now, we've got two guests joining us today. We've got one guest in studio. We've got Lauren Sanchez.
Hello, everyone.
And joining us remotely from Corpus Christi, Texas, we've got Deputy Mark Lemons.
How's it going? Happy to be here.
Welcome, Mark. How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing great.
Doing good.
Better than
All
I
right.
deserve.
All right. Now, today's kind of a special show. I say this because we welcome our first sister from the fire side on this show. Now, we'll start with Lauren here. Lauren, you work on the fire department side of things, correct?
I do. That's why I'm shocked I'm here. Thought you'd kick me out at the door.
Well, we're going to take it, step by
We've
step.
got to have
here.
light.
The show's not over yet, Lauren. Settle in.
There is
Yeah.
time for you to
There's
figure
There
it out.
is.
You're right.
There is.
So, what is your title, and what do you do on the fire side of life?
So I am the Regional Emergency Management Coordinator. So I do emergency management out of the fire department.
Okay, Regional Emergency Management Coordinator.
Good.
So you coordinate emergencies.
I do. Make sure that they happen to keep you busy.
I always wondered that. It's always like on our day off.
Yeah, it's me. I'm like,
There
look
we
at
go.
him
I figured it out.
relaxing. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Change
So-
that.
So do you get bonus points for coordinating emergencies at 3 a.m. on Sunday mornings?
I do. I get paid more.
Seems to be when everything happens.
Oh, yeah. It's in the handbook.
They've got a handbook for these
I'm
things?
pretty sure they do. The
And a
edges are
degree.
burnt, but I mean,
Yeah.
Wow. So what exactly do you do?
It's a good question. My mom still asks me that. What do you do every day? I'm like, hey, Mom, let me tell you for the 7th time. So emergency management, the kind of easiest way to describe it is I handle all things disaster related. So I don't actually cause them. If I did, then I would change a lot of it. They'd be real easy, real quick, and we'd go home a lot sooner than we do when we actually respond. But when something happens, because it always does, and we're in North Central Texas, which is the most disaster-prone area of the whole United
Tornado
States.
Alley.
So congrats that we chose to be here. So when something does happen, I assist police and fire with whatever they need. So when you guys are out on the call, you don't have time to coordinate the evacuations of a neighborhood, or when we move those people out, we have to open a shelter, and now we have to feed them, and we need to bus them somewhere. You don't have the time or capacity to do that, so you call me, and I handle all of that for police and fire.
well, thank you. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So is there a special request, like if we're on the scene and you're bringing us resources, we can be like, hey, can we get some ice cream or some coffee up in here or something? No?
Sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can call me for a helicopter,
I wouldn't
which
do
we've
ice
done,
cream. That's the
or
fire
ice
side. It's going to
cream.
melt. The ice cream's going to melt.
Yeah.
Grilled cheese. Let's go with grilled cheese.
Grilled
Do that.
cheese.
Yeah.
We could order grilled cheese in an emergency. And
I'm making notes. Mm-hmm.
boom.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, you are currently a deputy. What agency are you working with?
Right now I work for the Constable's Office, Precinct 6 in San Patricio County, which is just north of Corpus Christi on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, wow.
And you're kind of in a specialized unit, though, right? What kind of work are you doing?
I am. I spent 30 plus years in law enforcement working in patrol, most of it as a supervisor, patrol sergeant. Spent a couple of years in CID long enough to know that I got tired of everybody, including the victims, lying to me. I couldn't do that all day long. I retired for about a year, and then I came back to work for a guy that used to work for me on shift that got elected constable. He called me one day and he said, hey, I want to start a mental health unit. He and I are both crisis intervention training instructors, something that's near and dear to our hearts. So that's what we do. We go out on crisis calls. We work hand in hand with our local mental health agency. We do psych transports. If we have somebody that's in crisis and we get a magistrate's order for detention, they will call us and say, hey, we found a bed for this guy. but it's way the hell and far away across Texas. Can you guys take them? And we always do. We load them up. We feed them. We give them a safe place to be, and we take them to a hospital where they're mandated to go by the judge that signed the warrant. So that's primarily what we do.
Well, okay, and that's, I mean, you talk about it, everyone thinks law enforcement, and they just think, again, patrol guys or people answering calls, writing tickets, and taking people to jail, and don't realize how many actual varieties of positions there are out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that is very unique. Now, how long total have you been in law enforcement, Mark?
31 and a half years. I went to the academy in 1992. Early in 93, I went to work for the Nueces County Jail in Corpus Christi, worked there less than a year before I got a street job over in Aransas Pass.
Okay.
I was in 8th grade.
I won't say that I wasn't born yet.
I'm not physically able to slap anybody from where I'm at, but Steve, I'm counting on you. Just
You
feel
can
free
mail
to
them in.
smash.
You can mail them in. We take snaps in the mail. We're not.
I'll get that address at the end of the show.
Yeah. Notice I'm being quiet, anyways. I don't have any room to talk myself.
Yeah.
But Mark, in your tenure in law enforcement over those years, I can only imagine that you've come across some stories, some funny stories.
One or two.
Why don't you share some with us?
You and I talked yesterday. One of the things that we both agree on is that people were put on this earth for us to screw with, and if they're not here for that, then what good are they? I mean, seriously, we like to have a good time when we came to work. Like I said, I was a patrol sergeant most of my career, and I would tell our guys, if you're not going to come to work and have a good time, then I don't want you to come to work. If you come to work and your head ain't here, I want you to go home. I'm going to send you somewhere else. We always enjoyed having a good time, and usually at the expense of others. And after you and I talked yesterday, I got to thinking about this, and I thought, we had a great time pulling pranks on each other and on the general public. Sometimes it wasn't always a good thing on the general public. It ended with a lot of, hey, can you come by the chief's office for a minute kind of radio calls.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you just went to the top of the food chain there on us real quick.
I can't tell you how many times I got called into an administrator's office and heard the words, listen, it was funny, but don't say it again. But when people lob something to you that you can't pass up, you just can't pass it up. But I got to thinking about this, and we had more fun pranking each other at work than anybody else. And we always told new guys on our shift, whenever we would get them for the first day before we turned them over to an FTO, my corporal and I would say, listen, we screw with people. And if we don't screw with you, it means we don't like you. And if you notice we're not screwing with you and you realize we don't like you, that's probably about you, because we're some easygoing folks. So if we don't like you, you need to work on it. But we picked on a lot of people, and there were the guys that would put rocks in your hubcaps as a practical joke. Living on the Gulf Coast, there were guys that would do cruel things like put shrimp in your air intakes on your patrol car. Yeah.
On a hot day.
In August. Yeah. Bastards. I'm telling you. But I got to thinking about something I did one time, and I wanted to share it with you because I think y'all will appreciate it. I had a dispatcher that I worked with, and we're going to call her Nancy since we're not going to use real names. I don't think that she would complain about it, but just in case. Nancy was one of those people that just cried out to be screwed with just on a daily basis.
Just had that face.
Just
she
crying out
did.
to be
She did.
screwed with.
She was one of those people, she'd grab your cell phone and try to figure out your code so that she could get on your Facebook page and announce that you were coming out of the closet, that kind of shit. So, she deserved everything she got. But one day I was on nights. I just woke up. It was about 2 p.m, and another dispatcher had texted me about something that was going on. And she said, "Oh, Nancy lost her credit card." And I said, "Where'd she lose it?" And she said, "Well, if she knew where she lost it, it wouldn't be lost." I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's fair.
That's a good point.
Look, I haven't had coffee yet. Leave me alone." But I got to thinking about it, and I texted her. I said, "Hey, is there any way you can get me the last 4 numbers of her credit card that she lost?"
Here we go.
And she goes, "Why would I have that?" I said, "I don't know. You guys are friends." She said, "Yeah, let me work on that." Well, she found a receipt where Nancy had bought lunch. And you know how it is, XXXXXX, and then 2341.
Yep.
She sends me that. She said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know. Give me a little bit of time." It took me about 10 minutes to come up with something. I said, "What's her email address?" There's a company. Can I say the company name? It's a public company.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a company called lovehoney.com, and they sell sex toys. It is a couple of British guys that were just factory workers. And one of them said, "We can make a lot of money selling dildos out of my garage." So they started this company. There was a documentary about it. My wife and I had watched it. The documentary is hilarious. I got online and I stole their logo off of their webpage. And I built an email. And I sent Nancy an email. And I asked the other dispatcher, I said, "Are you working with her?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Does her email cause an alert on her phone?" She said, "It does." I said, "What's she doing right now?" She said, "She's training a new dispatcher." I said, "Awesome." So I sent her an email that said, "Welcome to the Love Honey family. We're glad you've set up an account, blah, blah, blah." Threw in some promotional stuff, threw in a few photos off their website, said, "These are what we're running specials on this week." And I hit send, and I went and I made a cup of coffee, and my phone went off, and it was the other dispatcher. And she said she just got an email, and she's telling the other dispatcher, "I don't know what this is. It's probably spam." I said, "Give it time." I sent her a couple of more promotional things. And I had to, you have to appreciate this. I had to build an email account that appeared to be coming from. I think I missed my calling as a scammer. I really do.
There's still time.
Yeah.
Oh, there
you
is.
still have
There
time.
is. Well, I could use the money. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, we're talking about discount dildos. So, I mean,
Exactly. Well, these are not discounting. We'll get to that. This is a high.
discount.
These are high end
price.
dildos.
You're getting a full shaft on that one, buddy. We are not giving you a break.
We're not getting a break. So I finally sent her a couple more promotional things, and I texted the other dispatcher. And I said, "What's she doing?" She said, "She's reading these promotional things." She goes, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Stand by." So then I hit her with the big one, and I've got a copy of
No pun intended.
I've got a copy of the invoice. I have saved the invoice. This was 15 years ago. I saved the invoice, and I would like to read to you what it was Nancy ordered. "Dear Nancy, thank you for your recent order at lovehoney.com. Order number." Now, for the order number, I used the VIN off of my patrol car because I just knew she was such a good dispatcher.
Yeah.
She was going to see that and recognize, it's a VIN. She didn't. The things that she ordered were as follows. And by the way, these are real products on their webpage.
I'll attest to that.
Squeal,
I'm sorry.
Squeal Go USB rechargeable oral sex simulator, $59.99. Heart-shaped large PVC butt plug, $59.99. Extra thick vibrating 8-inch cock with suction cup, $42.99. And this was my favorite one, and I had to include it because I didn't believe it was real myself. The Renegade Monster Meat dual motor vibrating realistic dildo, 11.5 inches, $72.99.
Is that the gold version?
Shipping free for orders over $100.
I bet it is.
I'm surprised they don't charge extra for the weight of a couple of those things. But
I cannot believe you didn't give her a discount.
No.
Man.
Was the last one gas powered?
It's got Holly carbs on it, man. And then the end of the email is, "Your items have been securely charged to your account, card number XXXXXX2341, and have shipped and are on their way to you at," and I have her name and then the address for the sheriff's office. So
That is commitment.
I sent that. This was a simple one. This took me 15 minutes total. I sent that to her, and I texted the other dispatcher, and I said, "Watch." She texted me back, and she said, "I don't know what you just did, but she's running in circles in dispatch and screaming." I said, "That's awesome."
From excitement.
So I said, "Yeah, I can't wait for it
Yeah,
to
that's
get
what it
here."
was. She's like,
Especially the Renegade.
she calls the
wants
credit
for
card
me.
company, says, "Don't cancel that card."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh.
That was me. Yeah.
That's
I'm saving money at
Double
this
that
point.
order.
hold on. That's the end. Don't get ahead of me. That's the end of the story.
Oh, sorry.
I sent a copy to the other dispatcher. I said, "This is what she just received." She said, "That's great." I said, "Okay, look, I got shit I got to do, and then I got to go on duty in a few hours." I went about my business. I was getting dressed, getting ready to go to work, and I texted the other dispatcher. I said, "So what happened?" She said she's back in CID making a report for credit debit card abuse. I said, "You're kidding me." She said, "No." I said, "That's awesome. Who did they send her to?" And they told me the name of the investigator, and he's another guy that just screamed out to be messed with. And I was like, "Oh, that's great." So I called the investigator, and he answered the phone. He goes, "Hey, man, I'm busy right now." I said, No. Tell Nancy they need her back in dispatch." And he said, No. We're in the middle of something. She's on the phone with her bank." I said, "That's awesome." I said, "That's great." I said, "Send her to dispatch." And he stopped and he went, "Oh my God, it's you, isn't it?" And I went, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're talking about. She had been on the phone for a half hour reading this list of products that were ordered on her card, and she knew they were ordered on her card, and yelling at a bank manager.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that poor guy. He probably went home that night. He's like, "You're not going to believe the fucking phone call I got today." So yeah. A little while later, I went on duty, and I texted her, Nancy, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And she said, "Oh, nothing." I said, "I'm a little concerned." And she said, "What are you concerned about?" I said, "The size of some of the stuff you ordered on lovehoney.com, it's a little bit frightening." And there was a long pause. And then in all capital letters on my text message, I just got one word: bastard. I was like, "There you go. That's for you." So
Job well done.
yeah,
The
that's
commitment.
Yeah, I'm not that techie. I can't do that kind of stuff, but that sounds pretty cool.
that's we've evolved in the pranks that we pull. Now, like I said, that was 12 or 15 years ago. Now there's an actual law in Texas that would make that a crime. So I'm glad I got away with it when I did. So she ran to everybody she could, trying to get even with me, and everybody that heard the story just looked at her and went, No.
Yeah, you don't
I'm not
want
getting
to.
involved in that. You're not going to have my name anywhere on that. So no,
He has my email address. I'm not messing with that guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Even the sheriff refused to help her. She went to him, and he said, "Nope, not getting involved."
Yeah, nobody's going to touch that. If you came up with that,
Yeah.
good Lord. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to challenge you, Mark.
Steve, what was your email address again? Could you text
You know
it?
what? I'm sorry. I just deleted my account.
As did I.
Lost it in a boating accident.
Yeah, not sure what happened to it, but it's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Note to self: don't challenge you to a prank.
Yeah. I get a real hard spot about things, and I don't stop. It's like the watch thing. I'm not quitting.
A hard
I'm not-
spot.
Yeah.
I know.
You can't say that after we just talked about the dildo orders and stuff.
Look, I threw that in for Curtis because he's, if he was an investigator, he picked up on it. I don't know about Lauren, but
No, I caught it. I was just going to let it go.
You can't let that go.
All right, guys. Hey, let's take a break. We'll be back to more Offbeat in just a minute.
Great.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Offbeat, the light side of law enforcement. I'm your host, retired officer Steve Rutherford. Co-host for today's show, Detective Curtis Hadley.
I think y'all still employed. Thank you.
Still employed.
For now.
Maybe. Go ahead. Sorry. Steve.
Maybe.
Okay, joining us in studio, we've got Lauren Sanchez.
Still here. They haven't kicked me out yet.
There's still time.
There's still time. Yes, we're still touch and go at this point. And joining us remotely from Corpus Christi, Texas, we've got Deputy Mark Lemons.
When life gives you lemons. Sorry.
Life gave us Mark.
It did.
It did.
Glad to have you, Mark.
It
And,
gave us
and,
Mark.
a huge gift it is, sir.
Wow.
How much do you weigh?
I'm pushing 240, so can you lift me?
No, I don't work that much.
Yeah.
I'll give it a hell of a try, though. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren. This is all Lauren here.
All right.
Get
Now,
carried away.
Lauren, how long have you been doing the emergency management thing?
7.5 years.
7.5?
I know. I'm still new to it. Still a baby.
So 7.5 years working on the fire side of things.
Correct. Yeah. Office out of the fire department. I work with my second jurisdiction now. The previous jurisdiction is where I had the privilege of working with Steve Rutherford.
Oh, yes.
Was there for a couple years, moved jurisdictions, but have always been under the fire department.
So you quit hanging with the cool kids and went to work somewhere else.
I did.
Yeah.
I
Do
know.
y'all text message or you smoke signals on the fire side? They still use smoke signals?
And Ravens.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Smoke signals. Okay. Yeah. In your 7.5 years, see anything funny?
I have. I'll be honest, it was kind of difficult to think of stories to talk about. A lot of the stuff that I go out and respond to are disasters, right? So not funny. And I know we all kind of have to have a twisted sense of humor to do the job that we do, but I didn't want to share those stories maybe with the world because anyone who's not in public safety is like, wow, they are the worst. So I try to think of ones that were actually funny. And there's a couple in there.
And you office out of the fire station.
I do.
So you ever seen like a firefighter like flip out of his recliner or something like that?
No, they're professionals, right? Like you don't mess around with a recliner. Like there's training. Here's how you sit down, and here's the lever, and like there's
Don't
a
make
full
me pause
training.
my game.
Yeah. No.
That's my controller. That's my recliner.
Yes.
They teach them like how to condition the leather in the recliners.
No. They do. It's a whole class. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about the firefighters per se. It's the meth addicts that have been coming into our station recently. The bay doors will stay open in the back. It's hot, right? So we want some airflow. So there'll be. I went to one of the stations yesterday to do something, and I walked in, and they were like, "Who is it?" Like, it's just me. I work here. They were like, sorry, we're a little on edge. We were having breakfast this morning, and this guy just high on meth walked in and was just standing there staring at us. And they were like, hey, man, can we help you with anything? And he was like, no. They're like, well, you're kind of in our fire station. Like, what's up? Can we do something for you? And he was like, well, I was sleeping outside behind the dumpster. My car broke down yesterday up the street, and I just found my way inside here. And he got down, like sat in the recliner and was just hanging out. And they were like, well...
That's like sacrilegious.
Yeah, they're like, well, we're calling the cops. We'll do this nicely. So the cops came, talked to him, and they started running vitals on him. And we're like, you actually should not be standing right now. Something's wrong.
So
we're going to need to transport you.
The fireman had to call the police to come take care of it.
Yes.
I'll just make sure I had that right.
They were having breakfast. What do
You don't want to interrupt that.
No. It's the most important meal of the day.
Absolutely.
In law enforcement, we always encourage people to lock their doors. So maybe the fire guys need
And it's the biggest door, right? This is like a roll open, very large door. And all of them were open. So you're right. Maybe they were asking
They
for a
invited
stranger high on drugs to walk
That's
in.
what it sounds like.
What would have been awesome is if the guy drove off in one of the trucks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It'd be a low speed pursuit.
Yeah. Well, can't go faster than 50 miles
No,
an
you
hour. I
can't,
think that's most people's policies.
I mean, seriously, if there weren't any no trespassing signs, I mean, that sounds like the fire department's problem. So
Yeah.
you got no offense there.
Is it a publicly owned building?
He's a taxpayer.
Exactly.
He's a taxpayer.
It's City Hall.
You know what? That's a great idea for a future show. all our equipment. We're just going to go find a fire station and just go set up in one of their bays and just have a
Just
show.
wander in, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they complain, you got to hit them with the, well, I pay your salary.
Absolutely. We've all heard
Because
that
we
one.
all love when people tell us that.
Thank you for your 37 cents.
I know. I'm like, I pay my own salary. Also, I'm also taxed.
Yeah. Wait, that sounds like a racket. We pay our own salaries.
We do. Just don't think about it too much. Forget I said it.
Yeah, let's start that a little bit.
Too late
The
now.
math
Yeah,
alone.
1 + 1 is 2. Okay, Lauren, share some stories with us.
So at my previous jurisdiction, so under the fire department, we had a total lost house fire. The bones of the house were still standing. The garage was partially still standing. And there was an elder gentleman who lived alone. He was a hoarder and didn't have anywhere else to go. So he and his cats decided we were just going to live in the burnt out garage, which is tragic, right? We didn't have anywhere to put him. We were calling the Red Cross to try to get some assistance for him. We couldn't get anything lined up quick enough, so he just decided instead of staying with the neighbors who offered a place, he was just going to stay in his garage with the cats. So the fire chief came into my office and said, hey, you get to be kind of the liaison with this guy. So anything he needs, I gave him your cell phone and coordinate with him. So he reached out to me, needed some food for his cats. And I said, great, I'll reach out to our animal shelter, get you some food. So I delivered it to him. Here's some cat food. Let me know when you run low. And about 2 days later, he went through all the cases of cat food that I had dropped off. And I was like, wow, are you feeding all the cats in the city? And he was like, well, we ate them. I was like, sir, when you say we,
Yeah.
do you mean you are
Yeah.
eating the cat food that I brought you? And he's like, well, yeah, I'm hungry. And I'm like, okay, you could have told me that you needed human food. I would have happily helped you with that. So got him some food, dropped that off with some cat food. And I'm like, okay, he's probably good now. I was chatting with the neighbors. They were letting him come over to shower and charge his phone and offering the guest bedrooms, and he just refused to take it. So the city in the background's kind of working on how do we safely evict him and have him go somewhere that's, actually safe to stay.
Sure.
And so in the meantime, I get a call from him, and I'm like, man, he's out of cat food again. He's probably still eating it.
Damn it, Friskies is good.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, maybe I should try some of that. It's much cheaper. I don't know.
It might be. And when you go to buy pet food, I mean, it's like seafood, salmon, this and that, or it's bacon this. So, I mean, they try to appeal to whoever's.
It's much cheaper than buying a
buying.
salmon for us to eat. So
It's
maybe he's
great.
onto
It's
something.
great on a saltine. I'm telling you. I'm just saying.
You might know this guy. Okay, so he gives me a call. They might have shared the cat food. I don't know. He knows on the saltines it tastes pretty good.
They might. Maybe like a Ritz cracker or
That's
something like
true.
that. Okay.
Make it fancy.
Churchy
So
day.
I get a call from him, and I'm expecting he wants more cat food. And he's like, I'm just calling to say, thank you so much. And you appreciate that, right? You're like, okay. Yeah. You're welcome. I'm very happy to help you. Let me know if you need anything else. And he's like, well, actually, I'd love to take you on a date.
Oh,
And
the South.
and we've heard it. I've heard it before, and you just very politely, thank you, no thank you,
No, I've never
goodbye.
heard
You haven't?
it. Never heard
No,
it.
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. I was feeling a little vulnerable there.
I'll give him your number if you want someone to reach out.
No, I'm good.
He'll share the
Cat food?
snacks, yeah.
Yeah.
So he offers to take me on a date, and I'm like, sir, no thank you. And he's like, well, maybe not go out to eat because my house just burnt down. I don't have any money.
Definitely
but
not going out to eat.
Right? Maybe I'll cook you dinner. And I'm like, no, again, thank you, no thank you.
Nope.
But he's like,
Nope.
but my kitchen burned down. So I'm going to need to borrow your kitchen. And I'm like, oh, so you want to come to my house and cook me dinner in my kitchen on the date that you're planning? He's like, yeah. I'm like, again, I appreciate it. No, thank you. It's okay. And he's like, well, let me know if you change your mind. I'd love to cook you dinner at your house. And I'm thinking, like, he's going to ask me to move in next, or he's going to try to move into my place.
Are you going to move into the garage with him?
Yes, right. Okay. And so he's like, well, let me know if you change your mind on the date, but, I could really make it worth your while. I'll add you to my life insurance policy.
Cha-ching.
And at the time, I'm like, no, sir, no, thank you. I appreciate it. We get off the phone, we hang up, and I march into my chief's office, and I'm like, sir, I'm giving him your cell phone number. I don't want any more of these calls. You're going to handle it from here on out. And he looks at me, and he's like, so did he say how much his policy is for?
Right.
This is not a bad thing.
And I'm like
Questions.
appalled. And then now, looking back, I'm like, so young and naive. I wish I would have taken him up on the offer and been like, yes, I will come over. I will bring food, and please tell me where to sign.
Well,
and I probably could have retired by now.
So
with the $7 that might have been in his account, but I don't know.
Well, maybe like $1 million policy.
Maybe.
Have you checked to make sure your chief didn't take the guy up on the offer?
He might have. He did retire soon after that. He's traveling the world.
There you go.
So I know.
That makes sense. It all made
It
sense.
does,
Wow.
actually. We just solved it.
There you go.
That's exactly what happened.
This should have been my
there's still a
future.
chance.
As long as I'm not a city employee, I can take him up on it. By the way, I'm retiring tomorrow.
So your former chief stole your future.
He did.
Yeah, you said
I
he's
need to make a phone call.
Yeah. What's the number? We can do it right here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said the former chief's traveling all over the world and stuff, right?
It's a hell of a policy.
I know.
Yeah. Wow, Lauren, that's a missed opportunity.
It really is. It haunts me to this day. There's not a lot of things I regret in my life. That is one of them.
Your former chief is on the Mayan Riviera somewhere drinking a pina colada and going, damn, poor old Bob, but he was a good guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, and really his idea for cat food wasn't that bad either. He's probably
Yeah. Exactly.
Probably eating cat food sitting there on the beach. And
Yeah.
all right. Now, Lauren, we did have a question. Something we don't understand as police officers about the fire side. We always see a fireman walking around and he's got his radio with him, but he's wearing it on a leather strap around his neck. Mm-hmm. They make belt clips for those where you just clip it on your belt. So we're kind of curious, why the leather strap? Why the radio hanging off their neck?
Because then it's movable, right? You get into the engine, and if it's clipped on the back, you got to swing it to the front, or if you're sitting down, then it's here. So that one, they can move it around, and then if they have to put their gear on,
put their bibs on.
can take it off. It needs to be quickly movable. Plus, you get to buy, right, or make a super cool leather strap that has your name on it, or your department on it, or your station on it. Flowers.
That was his question. My question was,
Where do you get one?
No, the wax that they use on the engines, is it the same wax they use on their mustaches?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always wondered that.
Yeah. We're conscious of what we spend, right? Because then the public comes in and is like, I pay your salary and pay for that wax. Yep. So we try to be very conscious of how we spend our money. So it's the same wax.
As police, we can be somewhere and go, hey, I've turned to my wife and go, that guy's a cop. I can tell by the way he holds himself, the way he walks. But when you walk in with a stash, I'm like, that guy turned left. Yeah, he's a fireman.
Yep.
turn left.
Well, that's the Shogun. Ours is turn left. So
no, we were wondering because Mark and I were talking about it yesterday when we were doing, we were doing a studio test, and we're like, why the leather strap on there? I mean,
call it a purse, Steve. Just call it a fucking purse. That's what it is.
It's a radio purse.
It is.
It's a European man bag.
Yeah, it's a
Indiana Jones carried one. It's a satchel.
It's a satchel. It's a radio satchel.
Radio satchel. Yes, maybe we should get like gun satchels. Be more comfortable. You get in the car, you can swing gun over to this side. Stuff.
Yeah.
That's what do.
It's not digging a hole in the seat of your Crown Vic. Yeah.
You could just fire it from the satchel. Just lift the whole thing.
Yeah, just kind of rock this way and it comes up and bang.
We're on to something.
Y'all missed the Crown Vic.
Oh, man, don't even start.
That's how old he is.
Hey.
Are you?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
You don't want him as an enemy.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're doing
He doesn't have my email yet, so I'm good.
I was going to say, Steve, don't send me your email. Send me Curtis's email.
By all means.
I'll get it to you here by the end of the day. No problem. I'll see if I can get the last four of a credit card from him too.
Yeah, please.
Now, kind of tying into your theme there in the first segment, I understand, Mark, you had a gentleman and you located some strange property in his possession.
Close encounter.
I'm regretting bringing that up, but I will tell the story. Listen, like I said, we pranked each other all the time, and if you didn't have thick enough skin to get pranked or to do something stupid on your own and then tell others about it, then you didn't deserve to be out there doing it. we responded to a loud music call one night, and it's a little shitty garage apartment above another one. Went and knocked on the door, and you could smell the weed coming from inside. And this stoner dude answers the door. I said, "Look, bro, just turn the music down. Your neighbors are complaining." He goes, "Okay," and he starts to close the door. And my investigator and I are standing there. And I said, "No." I said, "We're also going to talk about the fog bank of weed smoke that's coming out your windows. Can we come in?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So we go in. And I said, "Look, I don't want to put anybody in jail over some weed that's stupid. Just, gather up whatever you got. I'm going to take it with, as long as you don't have like a QP or a kilo of weed stashed here. We're going to go away and we're all going to call it even." And he goes, "Nah, man, I just got a little bit." I said, "All right, great." We run this guy, run his CCH. He turns out to be a convicted felon. My investigator's poking around looking, and I'm looking for stuff. And the guy's gathering up all his paraphernalia and putting it in a box. And he goes, "This is all I got, man." I said, "Okay." And I walked over. This guy's got an old beat down king size bed. And I grabbed the edge of the mattress. I'm going to look under, because where do bad guys stash their shit? I figure I'm going to lift this up. There's going to be a couple of gallon bag of weed. I lift it up, and I can't see under the mattress really well, but I can see the reflection of something under the mattress about halfway under. And I was convinced, oh man, I got a gun. That's awesome. I got a felon in possession. So I grabbed it with one hand, lifted, stuck my other hand underneath, and I pulled out about a 12-inch long glass butt plug. And I'm standing there with it. In my hand. It's too late now.
You done committed to that one.
I was committed. I was like, well, shit. Literally.
I like how you knew it was 12 inches. It wasn't the 10-inch model.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was the 12. It was the 12. On Love Honey, listen, on lovehoney.com, they're only $32.99 this week.
He's got a carpenter eye. It's like, oh yeah, that's definitely 12.
Yeah, that's 12 inches. So I went and immediately washed my hands as well as I could, walked out. I thought we were going to have to call EMS for my investigator, because he was bent over laughing hysterically in the corner, couldn't breathe. I was convinced he was having a heart attack. So we never got called back to that guy's house again. It was absolutely awesome. I didn't want to look him in the face again after that. So, there you are. So.
Yeah, always look before you just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a life lesson.
I've been a cop about 3 or 4 years. I was still in that hard charger mode and wanted to put everybody in jail, and saw my good felony for the night, and it turned out to not be so. So you live, you learn.
Probably aged you a few years, didn't it?
A little bit, yeah. I never heard the end of it at work either. The investigator sent out an email blast about it. Like, y'all aren't going to believe this. Read Levin's report about such and such, So
You couldn't get to the end of it. Sorry.
Good reach. It's a 12-incher, man.
The show went south quick.
Right in the shitter,
come do a
man.
show. It'd be great, man.
Put a disclaimer on this
talk
one.
about anything weird.
Steve, listen, I told Robbie this morning, or not Robbie, I'm sorry, Josh. I told Josh, hey man, I'm doing the podcast today, and he's like, all right, cool, have fun with it. I said, I'll make you proud, and then I followed that up with, oh, I'm sorry, I misspelled the word cringe. So I'm sure that when Josh hears this one, he'll be just utterly mortified. So
as long as Josh doesn't say, yeah, I've been to that site.
Oh,
Okay, guys, let's take a break.
yeah, let's do it.
Welcome back to Offbeat, the light side of law enforcement. I'm your host, retired officer Steve Rutherford, co-host for today's show, Detective Curtis Hadley.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Joining us in studio, we have Lauren Sanchez.
Shockingly still here.
That's true. Still here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think you've held your own.
All right. And joining us remotely from Corpus Christi, Texas, we've got Deputy Mark Lemons. All right.
Hello.
On break. Lauren, you shared a story with us.
I did. Yeah, we were talking about having Mark here virtually, which is amazing. Mark has learned, I think, over the years that we've all jumped into the virtual meeting space, the do's and the don'ts. But the story that I shared was at the very beginning of when we all moved virtual during COVID, before people learned the importance of checking that your microphone and your camera are off, right? You check it 100 times repulsively to make sure that you didn't accidentally turn it on when something embarrassing happens. So
Yeah, and you always hide your video and your mic so you can just be that stalker in the room and listen to everything going on, but not inadvertently say something and or you got to worry about your background and all this kind of crap.
exactly. Yeah, you have yours off and then you're
Skype are you
secretly...
I feel personally attacked on this one. I don't know. Shit.
No, you've done a good job so far. From what we see on your
thank you.
camera, there's not anything crazy around you. You probably, hopefully you checked before you turned the camera on, and if not, then just luck.
So, in the middle of COVID,
Yes. So beginning of COVID, when we started doing everything virtually, we had a big meeting, a big regional meeting, maybe 200 people on here to kind of just talk about what is everybody doing, here's what needs to be happening, etc. And we're on this call and it's kicking off, and all of a sudden we hear a phone ring. So everyone's looking at the screen to figure out who it is. And there's this woman on the call with her camera on, and she is unmuted, and she takes a phone call. Okay, but then she puts it on speakerphone.
How many people are on this call?
200.
I say probably 200. Very large call. So not everyone has cameras on, but hers is on. And when your camera's on, it puts you at the center of the screen for everybody to see. So this woman unmutes, and the start of the call, I don't remember verbatim, but it's essentially, hello, Miss Blank. This is so-and-so from your doctor's office, and I'm calling with your test results. And at this point, I'm getting nervous for her, right? I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, no. Hopefully, then she takes it off mute and leaves the call or something. Oh, no, she proceeds. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is a great time. Go ahead and read me my results, not realizing that 200 of us are also hearing your results live. And it was definitely results that you didn't want strangers to hear. So everyone, luckily, that was on the call also unmuted and are yelling at this woman. So we'll call her Sarah. I don't even remember. Sarah, you're unmuted. Yes, right. Trying to flag her down. People are calling her. You can see her getting other calls, and she's just sending them to voicemail. And so the doctor proceeds to give her all of her results, and she's asking questions back, and she's nodding, and right, this full dialogue. And luckily, everyone on the call was very polite and was banging, making as much noise in their own office as possible to block the sound of her test results being shared with the whole region. So this goes on for maybe a minute or two. And so finally you see her wrap up the call and hang up, and she just turns back to the screen and is ready to go. And everyone is just mortified.
But this wasn't just a regular, hey, you're hang now. What was the diagnosis? Can we do this with HIPAA? Sorry.
So before, and again, I don't know her name. I don't know. I'll just say from what I remember from where that conversation seemed to be leading was something sexually transmitted, and she was needing to go pick up a prescription. And
We'll give you the extra strength Z-Pack.
yeah.
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 It
When
happens.
will this discharge stop? I just haven't.
She did. I didn't hear the follow-up questions because, like I said, we were all doing our best to block that out for her sake. But there was a lot of dialogue back and forth.
It's horrible. I could drown a toddler in my panties. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Steve. Are you okay?
Mark, you were unmuted for that. I don't know if
I'm
you
just
knew.
still trying to figure
but,
out
Oh no, that was intentional.
Yeah,
Why would a
your
toddler
mic
be
was
in your
on.
panties? That's the question. No one asks the hard questions.
We were all going to get arrested. We knew.
Nah. Indicted, maybe. We're not.
I know a guy. I know a guy.
Well, this has been fun. So,
All right, guys, it has been fun. Thanks for listening in today. Couple things. If you've not been to our website, check it out. It's offbeatcopshow.com. Again, that's offbeatcopshow.com. Make sure that you subscribe to our email list. Also, if you're an officer and you have a funny story you'd like to come on and share in studio with our listeners, hit us up. Send us an email at offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. Again, that's offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Guys, thanks for listening today. Stay safe and watch each other six.